If I look a bit weird, it's because I've had a tooth extracted from this side of my mouth, so I need to take painkillers pretty soon. I thought I'd take advantage of the situation and ask the dentist and the dental assistant to be my models for today, and they very graciously did agree to that. So I'm going to start painting soon, probably now actually. Okay, so here we go. Let's get started. It turns out instead of starting a painting, what I did was I got something to eat. I then made a video with an artist called Rod Major, where he talked me through a video that he sent me. So after making the video with Rod, I was just tired, just very tired. So I'm currently looking at a blank pad, and I've got my watercolors, my brushes and things all ready. It's going to be like that for the video, you know, it'll just switch over to me painting. So yeah. This did not go well. This could be seen as a cautionary tale for using watercolour and how much you need to really slow down and probably draw before you start painting. But I was overconfident. I thought, I can do this, I can just draw with the brush, I can wet it down and remove how dark certain parts are. You can see there already from the cheekbones down, I have so much of a darker tone. I try to even it out on the top, but it just kind of gives her the look of jaundice where all of the skin becomes yellow, and that really did not depict her complexion accurately. But even if I could get away with that, the shape of the face wasn't flattering or accurate, and there just wasn't enough to redeem this type of a portrait. So it turned out being a real ugly mess, and I learnt a very harsh but good lesson from doing this, that with watercolour you have to go very light first and build up those layers and make sure that it's pretty, because otherwise it will turn out horrid like this. So this was the first attempt that was a complete failure. Whilst I'm trying this second attempt at the watercolour painting, I have on in the background a film that was lent to me by my friend Gwen called The Draftsman's Contract. I've not seen this film before, and I had it on just thinking I'll listen to it and paint and just get on with what I'm doing, and it became so distracting I had to just stop painting at some point and, you know, put my full attention onto the film because it was very interesting. It had been recommended to me before. I went to, there's a video about it on my channel. I went to a tea party by some artists discussing the history behind a house and a gallery in North Wales. Beautiful place. And at that tea party there was a gathering, and after the talk we all went walking around, and I photographed and filmed a lot of the artwork there. And then I went outside for some fresh air, and I got talking to a couple of chaps out there, and one of them recommended to me The Draftsman's Contract, and I remembered the name but I didn't manage to find the film, and just by chance my friend Gwen lent it to me. So yeah, I was very grateful for that, to be able to watch it and see why they were recommending it to me. And it is a very interesting film. I can never say that I can recommend a film necessarily, but you can see here how the camera angle has changed, and that is because I did have to just stop painting and just have a look at what was happening on the screen. And it was very humorous. It's a comedy, but it's played very different to most films that I've seen, where the acting is heightened to a point which is not realistic, but it's incredibly entertaining. And I did find it inspiring. It was interesting to see the artwork on there and the landscape that was the backdrop for the drama and the comedy in the foreground, and also because he was a draftsman, one of the characters in the film, he was drawing landscape drawings of this property, and that's what was nice for me to see, is the artwork that they showed on the screen whilst the film was playing. And I am going to try and make a film series, a series about art on film, I should say, is what I'm trying to produce for my channel. And the first episode is almost complete. I just need to finish it off. And at the moment I have 10 episodes lined up. So I'm going to try and just pick through those as quickly as possible. It's tonally different than what most of my videos are like to watch. But I'm hoping to make it an interesting, different series on my channel, and not a complete departure from everything else, because it's still art related. But because cinema plays such a significant role in my inspiration and my artistic choices, I thought it would be nice to try to introduce a series which delves into some of that interest that I have. So for this painting that I'm making, though, I have gone a lot more cautious from the first step and done a lot more watery washes to start off with, and slowly built up the layers where I'm being a lot more considerate of the source material, the reference material, I should say, that I'm using, than what I did on the first attempt. And I was just overconfident, I think, and I could make the excuse about having the tooth extraction and the medicine and all of that influencing my mood and my cognitive abilities at the time, but I think it's more likely that I just was a bit too confident in my abilities because of normally being so comfortable drawing with ink without a pencil underdrawing. I think that had a bit of an effect on my thought process when it came to watercolour. I thought, surely if I treat this like ink, I'll have a similar success rate, and it just wasn't true. Since this point, this is from a while ago, and since this painting I have done lots and lots of portraits, and I think I have improved on the accuracy that I can get with portraiture, even though not to the extent which portrait artists do, which means that not only more practice but also very harsh self-critique and critique from others that you should encourage, in my opinion, because that strengthens your approach to portrait drawing or painting, is to make sure that you're criticising your own work for where it has a lack of a likeness, or the finish is not quite what you wished it were. And if you're aiming for a certain standard of art making, then making sure that you're tough on yourself and you push to try to strive for these improvements. You need to do that to yourself, but you also need to encourage others to assist you in this reflection upon what you have achieved. And that's what I like to do with certain pieces. With portraiture I haven't, and I need to, but I like to do it with other pieces because I want to see growth in my artistic journey and not just repeat the same work that I make and have slight improvements but nothing significant. That can sometimes be to the sacrifice of a consistency throughout your work. So normally if I were to stick with just ink drawings, I would have maybe improved quite a bit if I would have just stuck to that as a single style of or approach of art making. And it may be something which I commit to at some point, because I would like to do better ink drawings as well, but I can't land on a single goal. I always want a lot of things to improve simultaneously, so that is why you'll see me make lots of different types of art. And for this art challenge I wanted to push into more painting than I have been doing, because normally my inclination is to draw, not to paint, and I want that to change. I want my interest and my experience with painting to grow and develop, and my confidence to be built up with painting in all different types of media, not just with watercolour, which I find fairly comfortable to use, even though you've already seen where it does fall short. Most of the time I'll quite happily use watercolour and not have too bad an experience with whatever it is that I'm trying to paint. There are other paints which I don't use as often, and for this challenge I've tried to make the most of the opportunity to now practice that and sacrifice my ego, I suppose, by having to post the picture onto Instagram and here, as you can see, onto YouTube. And I'm not going to hide it. I didn't hide the mess that I made of the first watercolour painting, and I'm going to show you the paintings and drawings that I make for this challenge as I make them. Granted, it hasn't been a consecutive challenge for me. I've had to have breaks in between the drawing or painting that I do because of work commitments, but I am pushing into making more acrylic paintings, which you'll be seeing soon, and also oil painting, which I've done quite a lot of now. Not nearly as much as I will, but far more than I had done before. And you can see now with this painting how I'm pushing to really finish things off with lots of darker tones, doing slight refinements and trying to make it look like a passable portrait. Not the best in the world, but still much better than my first attempt, in my opinion.